Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. How we feeling on this Monday morning? Feels like it's been a minute since you and I have had a conversation. It's wild when you sit back and look at it. The college football playoff is off the table. It feels like this season is over. It's all doom and gloom. Most of the chatter, most of the talk the last week was about whether or not you should fire Josh Heupel or keep Josh Heupel. Some people saying nobody is actually calling for Heupel to even be fired. It was an interesting week here on YouTube. Took the weekend off, and now we're right back here getting ready to dive into it. Tennessee's got New Mexico State coming up on Saturday. Are you fired up? Are you excited? Or are you just kind of, man, look, I mean, Josh Heupel's got a tall task in front of him. The best case scenario for this football team is you finish 9-3. Your number one goal is off the table. The college football playoff is off the table, and I get it. You can look at numbers and data and analytics and say, Boogie, there's still a chance. There is still a chance. The ESPN FPI says Tennessee has a 1.9% chance of making the college football playoff. So many things have to happen. So many things, in fact, that I'm not going to go chase that down. I'm not going to go try to figure out what has to happen in order for Tennessee to make the college football playoff. I'm looking ahead. New Mexico State coming up on Saturday. 99% chance Tennessee wins this game. Vegas has Tennessee favored by almost 40 points. So I ask you, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in this game coming up on Saturday afternoon? You know, I had a conversation with Kaner on Locked On Vols Friday morning, and, you know, we were talking about playing the young guys. I said that's what you got to do, right? You got to look ahead to the future. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying bench Joey Aguilar. I'm not saying bench the guys that got you here, but you got to find an opportunity to get some of these young guys on the field. And we've already seen a lot of these guys play. Look, the reality is when you look at this football roster, it's around 50% made up of freshmen. So a lot of these young guys have already been contributing. Guys like Jaden Perlotti. I would look to find a way to get Jaden Harmon a little bit more run on Saturday. Radarius Jackson, a guy coming off of an injury that we've seen get some playing time. I would give him some more run. Joakim Dotson at that wide receiver position. You look to the secondary, Timothy Merritt, Trey Poteet, a couple of guys at corner that I would look to get them out there on the field as much as possible. Playing time, live bullets, live fire, trial by fire is important. I would get as many of these guys on the field. Sidney Walton, another one in the secondary at safety that I would try to get as much run as possible. You got guys on that defensive line that we've already seen a little bit of, and I think they've kind of looked the part, but I would get them more run. Marion Dye, Ethan Utley, Isaiah Campbell. I think those guys have an opportunity to grow a little before we head into the 2026 season. Again, a lot of young guys on this football team, a lot of young guys on this roster, but to me, there's one guy that absolutely must play on Saturday, no ifs, ands, or buts, and that is quarterback George McIntyre. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, but as always, I need you guys to do the YouTube stuff for me. Smash the thumbs up right down there below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. Helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If it's your first time here on the channel, welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't fake that. We don't pretend to be that. Easy for me to say. What we are is exactly what you guys are. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be back to business as usual tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be playing EA Sports College Football. We're going to be talking all things Tennessee football. Wednesday night, Talkin VAWLS live at 7, Friday morning, 10 a.m., and then Saturday, an hour before kickoff, and then immediately following the game, we are back to business as usual after the bye week. But let's talk a little bit about the quarterback position. And again, for me, and I ask you, what's your goal for Saturday? What's your goal for New Mexico State? A game that is a glorified scrimmage. It is what it is. And at this point in the season, man, it's hard to get excited. I get it. It's hard to get fired up going to play against New Mexico State when the college football playoff is off the table. But what are you looking for from this game? Who are you trying to get some run in this game? And the reason I bring up George McIntyre is, you know, we talk about the quarterback room. We talk about the quarterback position. I think that room is the toughest room to manage and handle in the transfer portal era. You know, we were kind of lucky previously when you look at that room. We were lucky to have Gaston Moore as kind of a middle guy there, an emergency quarterback, a guy that knows the system, a guy that knows the playbook. He wanted to be here with Josh Heupel. I think we were lucky to have him as a part of this football team because typically what it looks like is you've got the guy that's out there starting, the guy that's out there playing, the guy that's out there balling out, a guy like Joey Aguilar. And then you kind of got the future guy, right? And for Tennessee, it's kind of weird. This year, it's Jake Merklinger, it's George McIntyre, but then you also know that you've got five-star quarterback Faison Brandon committed to Tennessee. So it's interesting to see how this thing is going to play out. And again, typically you've got the guy and the future guy. Look at Hendon Hooker / Joe Milton. You were waiting on the future to be Taven Jackson. We saw how that played out. You go and you get a commitment from Nico Iamaleava. What does Taven Jackson do? Watches him throw the football one time and says, I'm not beating that guy out. I'm jumping into the transfer portal. You kind of fast forward, right? And then it's Joe Milton, and you're waiting on Nico. Now it's Joey Aguilar, and you're waiting on either Jake Merklinger, George McIntyre, or Faison Brandon. So you may look at me and say, Boogie, what are you talking about? Why do you not want to play Jake Merklinger? Well, I've talked about this a little bit on live streams. I've talked about it maybe some in videos. Jake Merklinger is not going to be here. He's listed as QB2 on the depth chart, but Austin Price over at VolQuest had a little chat going on over on the message boards. This was after the Oklahoma game. Somebody was asked about getting Jake Merklinger some playing time in this New Mexico State game, and he said Jake will not be here come January. So those conversations have already happened. If this is officially done, if this coaching, I've never seen Austin Price put something out as absolute as that. If it's a conversation, if it's a possibility, if it was his opinion, he would have worded that differently. It would have said, well, Jake may not be here, or I think Jake will possibly transfer. He said Jake will not be here in January. So that tells me that George McIntyre, Faison Brandon are the next man up. They are going to have that quarterback competition. And I get it. You got that weird scenario that everybody likes to talk about. Well, what if Joey Aguilar comes back? Well, until it happens, until I hear that, until I know that Joey Aguilar wants to come back and it's a possibility, there's really no sense talking about it, because it all starts with Joey. Now, if Joey Aguilar decides, hey, yeah, I want to come back and play in 2026, do I think that's possible? Well, yeah, I mean, the way that college football is now, the way that everything's playing out with Diego Pavia, never say never. I could see a scenario where that plays out. But does Joey want to do that? I think that starts with him. And I think some people also don't know his free year, the same year that Diego Pavia is using, is happening now. He's using an extra year of eligibility in 2025. So it would have to be resolved in a courtroom, in a lawsuit, something along those lines. But it all starts with Joey. Does he want to come back? But to me, I'm looking ahead to 2026. I see George McIntyre and I see Faison Brandon. And again, it goes back to Jake Merklinger and what Austin Price said. Jake will not be here come January. So if I'm Josh Heupel, if I'm Joey Halzle, as soon as Tennessee gets a nice, comfortable lead, I'm putting George McIntyre into the ballgame. We've seen earlier this year, it's been Jake Merklinger. We saw the UAB game, a complete blowout. George McIntyre never even got to play a snap in that game. That is not happening on my watch. It is crucial that George McIntyre plays and gets as much live action as he can. Why play Jake at this point? Why give him an opportunity? If Jake is in fact transferring, there is no need for Jake to be out there on the field taking snaps against New Mexico State. That's why George McIntyre is the most important guy on this roster that I want to get reps. Coming out of high school, George was originally a 5-star, had a little injury that he was dealing with, didn't go throw in shorts and a T-shirt at all the camps around the country, so they dropped him from a 5-star to a 4-star, but I love George's mindset. George said, I guess I didn't throw enough in shorts for you guys, so you take away his 5-star, make him a 4-star, tall, lanky, scouting report from on3.com, projectable tools as a passer and a playmaker, tall, wiry build, touts a tight, compact throwing motion. The release is whippy quick at times, shows the ability to flick passes out to the boundary and downfield. Mechanical foundation points to a baseline level of accuracy. Bouncy, light-footed mover within the pocket, avoids pressure in the backfield. Stepping up in the pocket, capable of making high-level second reaction plays. Has encouraging improvisational skills, shows a long stride in the open field. I think George could be the future for Tennessee football at the quarterback position. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out between George McIntyre and between Faison Brandon. Does Josh Heupel elect to go to the transfer portal and look at an upperclassman at that quarterback position for 2026? A lot to unpack here. Again, what are you looking for in this Tennessee matchup against New Mexico State? Does anything matter other than the future at this point? And then also your thoughts on the quarterback room. Jake Merklinger not going to be here in January. Is it George? Is it Faison Brandon? Or do you go look for a guy like Joey Aguilar that can come in and be a one and done? Is that the future of Tennessee football? Is that the future of college football at the quarterback position? Or can you bring in a guy like George McIntyre? Can you bring in a guy like Faison Brandon and develop them from the high school level? What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out our merchandise. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. You can also support the channel by hitting the join button down below. It's only $1. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. We also have a Patreon you can join to support the channel, game day chats, EA Sports, college football, Dynasty with me, Coach Jay, Dauber, and the boys. Go check it out. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.